How do we do this? Apparently, you have to like press one to be active, like this. Okay, and then you keep everything, but you just like get XP for that particular path. Because I saw someone last night say they did like I don't even know how much XP it was. It was a lot, and they didn't activate the new path, so they didn't get anything. That would be too sad. So let's not do that. Let's have a little look. Okay, so we're starting for glasses. Oh, this is the glasses. Or is the Daring Daisy thing? Because I said in my video that I thought the Daring Daisy was like a tint. It actually looks like it's like a line of like clothing or something. Maybe. Okay. Well, I don't really like glasses in a lot of games because they just don't look like mine. So probably won't be wearing them, but it's okay. Okay, so we have snacks. We have the sideburns for the mustache. So I probably won't be using this, but you know what? Give the guys more stuff because why not? Although it says 1 and 2. So do we have like two versions of this, or is it like saying 1 and then 2? I don't know. It's a mustache and sideburns. I'm a little bit confused where the second one is. Maybe it's just two styles in one, like reward. It has some Daisy like bottoms and shoes. I'll probably actually wear these. I actually might wear these. They're kind of cute. I feel like I could style them with like a girlier top and it would look quite nice. We have a lucky coin. Did they do this in the last one? Did we get like furniture that already existed? No. No. That's gonna be difficult. As you can see, I haven't really completed much of it. Did we get furniture that already existed? I don't feel like we did. Oh well, at least you don't have to make it. You know, at least you get something for free. And this hat's cute. Remember this hairstyle? It looks a little bit weird, but it's actually really cute. Oh my god, we get a little pup. I've always kind of wanted one of these, but I didn't want to like spend like the money you need to. And with the money you get in this, like what you spend is like it's worth a lot more. I'd rather have it for like 1,000. You know? Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. It's so cute. And this is a jukebox that we got. So this is like a new furniture item, right? Because we don't have this. I don't think we do. Oh, we have a new nameplate. Wait, I like this. Okay, it's a daisy. It's not a sunflower, but like I can pretend it's a sunflower, right? We can pretend that it's like almost perfect. You know, if it was a sunflower, it'd be perfect. It's a sunflower. It's yellow. It doesn't matter. Oh, the Palcat rug. Okay, we don't have this. This is like the same range as the other ones that we've gotten on Twitch shops. I think we have prize wheel coins. This is the top. Wait, this is actually nice as well. This is a top that goes with the bottoms in the other section. I wonder if these have colors to them. Do we have color variants of these, or are they just like one color? Oh, not showing me the hairstyle because I have a wig on. Because this is counted as a wig now. They completely changed so many things while I was away. Because when I didn't stream, I wasn't really playing Palia. They changed what hairstyles when you buy them in the shop. Like this is basically a wig. So I've got this hairstyle. I'm trying to see what it looks like, but the game is just like no, like hidden underneath. We'll see what that looks like, I guess, when we get it eventually. But it looks like a shorter hairstyle, so I might not use it, but that is fine. But yes, basically we are gonna get multiple ones of these, and you can just activate whichever one you want, and any XP you get in the game will go towards it instead of having to do certain things to get it. So I can go gardening and just basically so I don't have to do like anything specific. It makes it so much more fun. Also, I think this is new. I think I'll be using this. Although I'm not gonna lie. There we go. I'm not gonna lie though, this is really cute. But I'm not like an armor person. Even in like bigger MMOs and things that mainly only have like armor for characters, I'm just not a fan. But the fact that they made this cute. Hello? Okay. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of cute. I am mad at the green. Green is so dark. Oh, but this one's cute. But I'm not buying an outfit. For one outfit. And then we have the glider. The glider's kind of cool though. And it's not really like a solid color. I feel like it's almost like translucent. Like holographic. Kind of cool. Kind of cool. And then obviously the new pack. This is super cool. Although I guarantee they don't come in different colors, so kind of ruins it. Like, give us a skin that has multiple versions, and then we only have like one version of the full skin. But this time, he's so cute. I always wanted the Ferris, but I didn't want to spend money on another pet because I already have like 4 pets. But oh my god, I feel like I need him. He has a mini sword. Oh no, he's too cute. Oh no. I'm going loud and then quiet. That's not good. That is not good. I don't know why. I have encoding overload, which I do not know how to fix because I haven't streamed in forever and forgot what that means. We'll just basically use the stream as a test because I can watch you back at the end and see what happened. Because I'm going to have no idea what anything's going to be like until the end anyway. Even if you tell me now, there's things I can't fix. I used to like speak into the mic like this, like really, really close. Like you can't hear me back here because it just dips out. I have to sit really, really close. I'm going to forget. That's probably why. Wait. What outfit did I just have on? Hello! Hello, hello. I am back. I'm back and I promise I'm not going anywhere. I promise. I promise. I just thought I would tell you. No, thank you. I do appreciate it though. If you do notice anything on stream that's like needs fixing, just put it in the chat and I can go back through the chat and see what everyone said. I would appreciate it, to be honest. But yeah, I'm back, but I have no idea what I'm doing. Basically, look at this as a tester stream and be like, think about the fact that I've never streamed before. Treat it like I've never streamed. This is the first time I'm streaming. I've never done this because I've forgotten everything. Okay, I took 4 hours to make a video yesterday. I uploaded it, but I forgot everything, and I completely forgot how to stream. So, but yeah. I am back though. I'll be streaming on Tuesdays and Fridays, and then maybe a Sunday. Sunday is like a possibility. It depends how I feel. But yeah, Tuesday and Friday at 4 till whenever really, and like 2 to 3 hours. But we'll see how things go. But yeah, look at it. There's different versions of these. Oh no. Okay, so we have one version of this, but these have 2 versions with 3 colors. I'm not feeling it. These are like the other versions of the path though, right? It's good to see you back. Missed you. Oh, I missed you guys too. I honestly been thinking about it the whole time. It's been too long. I got basically, if like you obviously weren't here for the beginning of the stream, I was saying, I got ill on the last 2 streams. And you could hear it in my voice. I was like, my voice is going. I was coughing and everything. It was awful. And then after that stream, I was ill for a week, got a little bit better, got ill again the next week, got a little bit better, and got ill again. So I was just like, I don't know. It got too stressful. I was like, I can't stream. Clearly, my body doesn't want me to. I'm like, get over it. Get over it. I'm fine. I miss streaming too much to not stream. So Some of the new outfits look, yeah. I'm not a fan of this one. And I do think this is just the other version of the one in the path, and I like the one in the path more. So I don't know. I'm not a fan. But I did buy the Rapunzel one. I've got it. I've got like part of it on. I got the hair. I'm like, if you know me well enough, you'll know that I absolutely love Tangled. It's like my favorite thing. And so when they put Rapunzel in the game, I logged on just to buy that. I'm still running around like a zombie. What, in game? With like the zombie bride? Honestly though, that's like your thing. It's like your outfit. I don't feel like you can like stop wearing it now. But yeah, I bought the Rapunzel because it's like perfect. I don't know where she's gone, but I have the hair on. Um, and I wanted to look at the pet because he's got different versions. Oh my god, he's so cute. I have like cuteness aggression right now. Like, hello? Look at this little guy. Oh, this one is perfect. Oh my god. Okay. I can't buy him. I can't do it. I shouldn't do it. It's ridiculous. Ooh. This is how long I haven't really played, by the way, because I didn't play for like 6 months. I came on and then logged off, but I didn't play properly for like 6 months. And then I came back like a month ago. So Tony knows when I came back. He saw me online. I bought new outfits. I tried them, went for 10 minutes, and then nope, it's back to a zombie look. That's fair enough, though. I did that with Fortnite for so long. I used to buy so many skins and never wear them. And then I was like, I'm just going to go back to the same one. Every time. First thought was Youngblood when you said that. Wait, look like a zombie? Oh my god, not the Youngblood talk already. I've been live how long? 30 minutes. We don't mind. We love Youngblood on this stream. You've got me a little bit addicted to him, I'm not gonna lie. Ooh, what's in the... Oh. Oh. Do we not have, like... the thing anymore where things go on sale? That's weird. Anyway, this is my outfit. This is my outfit, and I really like it because it matches the hair. I had to take off the bird. The bird was driving me mad. Absolutely mad. The bird was driving me crazy that comes with this, like the hair that comes with it. No, I can't do with like things flying like near the head because when you're like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like you've got all of this stuff going on when you move, and then there's a bird just like constantly like doing this. No, no thanks. What did we go check out? I don't even know what there is. I've completely forgotten. My iPad up there as if it's gonna help me. Because I need to look. I've got my Notion up on my iPad. I'm literally an iPad kid at this point. I think I my YouTube script up from last night. Papa Cardigan. We already looked at that. And then we have a new ranching friend. But the thing is, I haven't done that much ranching. So we go feed them. I think we should go feed my little friend. I completely forgot that ranching even existed. So they're gonna be angry with me. Just like give them a second. They're gonna hate me. And they're gonna hate me big time. I haven't been on in like a week because I've been playing Heartopia. I hear when you move the mic. That's a good thing. Can you hear me like this? You're not supposed to hear me when I move away from the mic because I set it up that way so they can't hear everyone outside my room. You used to be able to hear like people downstairs whenever I went downstairs like and talk to you. People could hear you on stream. I keep forgetting it exists. I just like don't remember when it's not in my face. Unless it's spotted cozy person. Hello. How you doing? I've been like stalking your streams a little bit. I've been in the background. I haven't said anything because I've not really been on this account in a long time. So just know for like the past like month I've been like in and out of like streams and things. Oh. How you doing though? Hope everything's well. What you were talking about? Um what when I was talking about my iPad? Is that what I was when I was like cutting out? I'll try not to do that. That's a habit problem. Wait, I have an outfit. Who did it? Wait, who did it? Wait. Wait, the animals can wait. Because I need to explain something about the animals. Someone did something. Who did it? Who was this? Too bad I just scared work for the nice. You just left work and decided to come into my stream. Why? I appreciate it though. Thank you. I'm gonna open the present and I'm gonna know who it's from. I don't know if you want to admit to it before I open it though. You need to wear from the mic, but we're talking and we couldn't hear you. Okay, that's a habit problem. When I stream a lot, I get used to it. I don't move away from the mic. But I haven't streamed in 6 months. Give me a chance to like get used to it. I'm so sorry. There's gonna be so many things I do today that I shouldn't do. I've got to get used to it. It's like muscle memory. You just like should know, but for some reason I just like completely forget. And no one's telling me that they gave me a present, so I'm gonna open it. Let's see what I got. Who's it from? Oh, from Tony. Thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, and Happy New Year. I forgot to say that. Ow. I'm so sorry if that hurt your ears. Thank you so much. But yes, Happy New Year too. I completely forgot it was New Year. My bad. Thank you though. Let's have a little look. I haven't actually... I don't think I've seen this one in a while. Let's go see. The thing is, does it have a lot of colors? I think it does. I just thought there was something wrong with your mic. No, there's nothing wrong with my mic. There's just things wrong with me. Oh. When I come out of the game, it says my encoder is like overloaded. So if the stream logs at all, just know it's because I moved from one monitor to the other monitor. I think it's fine. If anything does lag on the stream though, do let me know. Or if like anything's not right, like it used to be, just let me know and I can like fix it. Yeah, Happy New Year. I was like, yeah. How did I just forget that? How did I forget that? Wait, does this come with a hairstyle? I don't know if it does. Oh wait, hairstyles are not in there anymore, are they? No, they're not. Does it come with anything that I need to... Is it these? No. No, I don't think that's... I don't know what it comes with. Wait, maybe I should look at the outfit. That might help. Marsh just to say closing in the mic when she moves. I literally just forget that... I forget because the thing is, if I use my mic for anything else, it's not set up this way. So like the mic is set up a certain way that if I move like that much, you won't hear me, so that like you can't hear everything. Because if I leave my room, you can still hear me talking if I don't have it set up. So you're not going to hear anything if I move away from it. Brain is lagging, but I don't think that causes an issue with your stream. Same. Same. I think we're all the same around here, to be honest. Don't worry, you're not the only one. Where's the outfit? I want to see the outfit. Where is it? Did I already go past it? Oh, I did. It's here. Ooh. We got a green one. Wait, this one matches the hair. Oh my god. Okay. Ooh, wait. Do we wear the green or do we wear the pink? Wait. I think I wear the pink. I think I wear the pink. Because it already matches the hair. Oh wait, I didn't check if there was any hair for it. I am so lost. What is it called? Bubblegum. Ready to pop. Wait, is there like... Right? I didn't even know that was the name of it. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm not sure if it has any hair with it or anything, right? No. Okay. I just wanted to make sure because I didn't want to like wear it and not wear it properly. Yeah, there we go. It actually matches the hair. I don't have hair. That's so perfect. What are the chances of? Thank you though. I appreciate it. My animals don't appreciate it, but I do. Let's go feed the animals. They need to be fed. They're literally starving, and I'm not even kidding. These guys haven't been fed in a week because I've been obsessed with Autopia instead. And they're gonna pop up in a second. Where are they? Okay. So before I actually do anything with these animals, I need everyone to understand why I named them what I named them. So you know that I'm a Swiftie, right? Like a really big Swiftie. It's very obvious. The music in the background is literally Taylor Swift music, but it's piano. I named I named all of my animals after Taylor Swift names in song names that are in Taylor Swift songs. That's so difficult to say. Names that are in her songs are the names of my animals. So I'm currently through her debut album, her second album, and her third album, and we're moving on to the fourth album. So we have Steven from Hey Steven. We have Drew from Teardrops on My Guitar. We have Juliet because of Love Story. We have Emma from Emma When Emma Falls in Love. You know, it just fit. I was like, I don't know what else to call these animals. I don't want to call them like actual names because I couldn't think of names off the top of my head. And I tried to do a name generator thing and I was just like, these don't sound like good names. So I named my chickens Mary and Romeo and Clark and Tim. Because this chicken is named after Tim McGraw. But I don't think he's about to pick up a guitar anytime soon. So let's feed them because I feel terrible. I also have like the little like pigs. I think that's what they're called. I think that's what they're called. Zombie animals sound good. Oh my. You know what? They actually are. I wish they would just die into skeleton. You don't have to have them. You can just not have them though. That's the thing. Wait, why is he still hungry? Oh, he's... Guys, they're literally starving to death. I'm literally... I gave them one mushroom. Was like, that'll do. Like, hello? That's so cruel. My animals are now picky 1, picky 2. Really? Is that all you named them? You know what? I don't even blame you. This is why I used the Taylor Swift name. I was like, you know what? That'll do. That will do. Wait. Wait, they're getting really old. They're getting really old. They're gonna die. Oh no. They're gonna die soon. I don't like that that's a thing. I do wish that we just let us keep them forever. Or why do my chickens die? I know it might be somewhat realistic, but it's just mean. It's just mean. Where are my mushrooms? Oh, they're in here. Let me get more because apparently I need more because I've literally not fed these guys in forever. No, I'm not feeding them pie. There we go. There's all trade in the ones. I don't actually know what you do when they die. I just know they die. Because I was watching Mellow Teddy when they first came out. I don't know what we do when they die. Do they just go? Do they just go and that's it? We never see them? Because I want to keep them. Let me keep them as pets. Let me just keep them as pets. Or like turn them into like plushies or something. They don't actually die once they become... They just don't... Oh! Weird. So they're kind of useless. That's so terrible. I feel so bad. Like, people are just like getting rid of them and replacing them because they don't give them anything. That is so mean. Hello! Jack, I'm going to assume you are still at work. And that you're probably on your phone, right? Watching me while you should be doing productive things. Venerated. See, that is a word I didn't know. venerated. Wait, they're still hungry, guys. I'm awful. This is why I could never have a pet, because I literally let these guys starve so much. I'm giving them like 50 mushrooms to be like not be hungry anymore. There is a cookie that will turn them back into a baby house, but that cookie's... Oh. So like this little guy can I can keep him basically. I just have to spend a lot of money to keep him. He's cute. Look at his little pink feathers. I'm not on a break. I'm being a rebel with my manager is away and I finish in 10 minutes. That is so bad. Oh, but you decide to put me into the equation. Like, no, I'm not watching a stream. No, I'm definitely doing my work. Let me involve Casey in this. But this is ridiculous. They're so hungry. It's gonna take me forever to feed them all. And we gotta go feed my pigs as well. We have one more left. Oh, I'm level 8. What level do I have to be for the Ferris? Like, I love you guys. I do. But I want the Ferris. Nio's here. Level 12? Oh my god, I have such a long way to go. Like, I can't even get the... We're on the wrong side of the screen. I put the camera on the wrong side. I forgot to move it back. I can't even get the Bumble yet. Do I have Almus? Wait, I think I got Almus on the last time I played. Have they aged up? They'll have aged up, right? And the Goobies as well. The little like... Oh my god. Look, where are they? There you go. Join back when I'm back on about 6 if you're still on. I should still be on. I'm trying to stream for about 2 to 3 hours. So if you do, hi. If you don't, hi. I can just stop it in though. It's just like old times. It's nostalgic, right? This is nostalgic. He's so cute. I want him so bad. Oh my god. I love them. I need them. I need them as pets and I need them as my animals in my ranch. But the Buva? That is a hard thing to say with an accent like mine. That is not good. Buva. I don't like that. He's adorable, but like, I don't like the one. I saw these on Mellow Teddy's stream as well. So cute. I actually want to cry. Like, oh, you're texting me. I hadn't even noticed you're texting me. My mum's texting me while she's in the stream and I'm just like ignoring it. But yeah, we need to... I will come back to you, but I gotta go feed my other animals. I gotta go feed the other animals so that they don't kill. I do have them. My almost are gigantic. Hello? Bonnie and Clyde. These guys are from my contact lenses are in the post. Next stream, guys, I shouldn't have glasses on. Finally, you guys have to see the reflections. Like I said, I named these guys all after like Taylor Swift, like names in Taylor Swift songs. So Bonnie and Clyde are not named after Bonnie and Clyde. They're named after one of the songs from Reputation. But man, this is... You guys are tiny in comparison. Big bar. What does this little thing above the head mean as well? Like, does that mean that they've like bred without me even trying to? I don't even know if they can do that. Let me... Nice, I never noticed any reflections. Well, I do. I hate this. And I hate wearing glasses. So I went back to the opticians and was like, please let me have contacts. And they were like, yeah, you can try these new ones you've never tried before. And I was like, awesome. I'm hoping that they're okay for me and I can just test them out for a longer period of time. Because it weren't quite right when I tested them for a week. But you only get like 4 pairs. But I just feel so much more confident with contacts rather than having glasses. Because I can't see anything. I cannot see a single thing without glasses. So it's not like I can not wear glasses. It's a little bit annoying, but like, you know, it's fine. I'll try the contact. I got like a tested period of them, essentially. Rather than like signing up for like subscription. They take a lot to feed. They've gained a new trait. Oh. Where'd you go? How do I know what the new trait was? Am I just supposed to remember what the old traits were? She's well loved, apparently, even though I've genuinely not fed her in like a week. So I hate contacts. I mean, they're okay for a certain period of time. I just don't think you can wear them for that long. If I can wear them for like 6 to 8 hours a day, like I will feel so much better because these annoy me like crazy. Like I want to wear makeup and it be seen. If I put eyeliner on, you can't see it. If I do my mascara, you can't see it. But without them, my eyes are green. Like I have green eyes. I don't want to hide them. They hide behind glass. And they like slide down my face. And they get dirty with the makeup. I hate them. Plus they actually like hinder your hair. Like I can't have my hair in a certain like style because the glasses will get in the way and it'll just annoy me, so. But yeah, apparently my Ormu is well loved and I haven't fed her in a week, so that's a little bit controversial. Let me feed her because I feel bad. There's like things coming off being like, I'm still hungry. She's still hungry. Oh my god. Oh my god. She's a hungry girl. There we go. These guys take a lot to feed her. That much? Blyde is still hungry. There we go. Let's feed Bobby. Did I not already feed him? Like I did. Well, he got extra food. We got some mushrooms. Please tell me you're not. Yeah. I'm just feeding them as much as I think and hoping it works. I only have, I think, 2 left. Oh, I got flowfish mushrooms. Just this guy left. Oh, guys, my character's invisible again. This happened last week for like half an hour, and it wasn't until I logged out or something that it actually made me not invisible. Oh. I think for the New Year's, the week after I've made my VIP and 3 streams. Wait, what? How? Was that like a redemption thing in like channel points, or did someone just make you a VIP? That's quite funny. I'm gonna buy rest veg soup for most animals if I can be bothered to make my corns. Well, I did a lot of what do we call them? What are they called? The like clam mushrooms in the Elderwood. I kind of sort of just like did a lot of that the other day. I was like running around trying to find them because I needed some stuff. And I had a bunch of mushrooms and I was like, I'm just going to feed them things I can forage because it's not that big of a deal. Plus, I don't feed them very often, so it doesn't matter anyway.
I'm always happy to help a friend.
I'm glad I bumped into you before I left. I didn't feel the bump. I didn't mean literally. Okay. If you don't mind, but I took the liberty of building you an extra pen. Oh, I have the extra pen now? Just in case you want to get some more Ormus. Or Mormus, as my dad would say. Okay. Nora Jemson's just made VIP and they're permanent, not timed. Oh, that's so cool. I don't think I've ever been a VIP. Have I been a VIP? I don't think I've ever been a VIP in anyone's stream, actually, now that I think about it.
Hey, mind catching up on the
I don't have
Ralph chores for
VIPs
me?
yet in my stream. I think of my mum. I think I made my mum one, but at some point we will do that. At some point. Not yet, but we will. I'm back. My character's back. Let's put all these things away. I also need to start planting things, but how long do we have till an ad pops up? I don't want to start doing anything until you know that an ad isn't gonna pop up. I have a new little BRB screen because I was like, if there's an ad, I should take like a couple minutes break while you guys take a break, and then we can be more refreshed. Let's go into the. That's not the right board. This is the board. 600 lucky coins away from. Oh my. 600? How long is that going to take you, do you think? I feel like I saved a couple of them. I completely forgot, actually. I saved a couple of them. Not much, I was like 6. But I saved them just in case when I stream again. So maybe we'll do that soon. We're lagging. All the snow had to load. Oh my. But yeah, I don't know how you've done it. Have you still not spent any of them? You've not spent a single one this whole time? And 40k from buying another 40. Oh my god, you have too much self-control. Wait, what did we need to do? We need to do this! Okay, we might try and start doing this today. We have weeklies. We need to do this. So let's go do this quest. Let me get it up. Oh, has that always been on that side? I don't feel like it has. I don't think that the quest have always been on that side. I haven't played in a week. I've gotten too used to Heartopia that the quests are on this side. But Palia's on this side. My brain is mush. Guess what else I've been saving up? What? What else have we been saving? I'm curious. Also, I have something to say as well, actually, before I do anything else. I don't know if it's one of you guys, but two people were actually subbed to me for like the last 6 months, and one of them is still subbed to me, and I don't know. I don't know who it is. I don't know who it is. Why? Why did anyone say sub to me the whole time? I need to know. Because whoever it was, I got a payout without streaming, guys. That's insane. Like, whoever you are, like, thank you, but you're crazy. You're actually crazy, because I don't know why you would do that. I stopped mine, but now you're back. Yeah, I did think it was one of them would be you. But you're crazy, though. You actually managed to help me get a payout when I wasn't even streaming. That's insane. I logged in, to like my emails, and I was like, why have I got an email telling me, oh, you have a payout? And then I looked, and I logged in for the first time in like 4 months, and I was like, do I have a payout? What is that? There was 2 of you. I don't know who the other person was. I have no idea who the other person was. But thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Tony. Oh my god. Why did it? Oh. You know what? Like, you guys are so nice. You guys are so nice. I've missed streaming so much. But thank you so much for the sub and for like the 4 subs that I had while I was away. I completely forgot about it until just now. It was crazy. I literally like went on my emails and was like, "Oh, I have a payout. That doesn't sound right. Is this a scam?" I logged in and it said like 2 people were subscribed to me, and I was like, "That's crazy business. Who are you and why?" But thank you though. I appreciate it. But you have 537 honey lures. Is that 6 months worth of honey lures? Crazy. You are actually crazy. I don't know how you managed to do it. I have no self-control when it comes to video games. I literally spend like... I spend everything. I use everything the minute I have it. You should see me on like every game as well, alongside from Palia. Like I get like so much money, and then I see a cute outfit that I can spend the money on, and then I have no money left because I buy the things. I couldn't do it. I had like 8 honey lures when I last signed in. I used them within like 2 hours. I wish I had your self control. Been mining Bahari trying to get plushies and turn the gold I find into Oh, that's dedication then, like pure dedication. Because I, for the life of me, could not do that. I tried to go find gold the other day. Like I spent like 2 hours trying to find gold. I found like 20 of it. I found like 20 of it. So I can't even imagine how long it would have taken to actually find. Thank goodness you've come to answer my call. Our village is in grave danger. Something tells me that that is not true. Let me guess. Crypto related. Oh, I like that. We're getting smashed by a giant tombstone. Tombstone? Oh, I see you misunderstood my use of grave. My fault for not specifying. The problem is that winter lights has passed and I've seen neither hide nor scale of the snowy skitter? Of the snowy skitter. Skitterer? These words are very difficult to say without me like talking silly. Oh, let me read this and we have an ad coming up. I'm sure you recall Legends of the Snowy Skitterer. If you see it during the winter, then you'll have a great spring. If not, there's a small chance he might eat your soul. You can't have my soul. Not if I have anything to say about it. Winter is not over yet, which means there's still time to summon the Skitterer. How do we do it? The Skitterer is attracted to natural light. So we have to collect anything that can produce light. Candles, torches, bioluminescence. You hear it. But remember, no electrical light. Source has to be natural. Additionally, we must make the Skitterer happy when he arrives, which means providing him with comfortable, snowy seating and suitable food. He loves anything spicy. Put everything we need onto the billboard so that you can head over there when you're ready. Okay.
Just because you can't
Let's go up to the billboard so I don't forget what we're doing. I don't want to forget that this is what we're doing. But we have an ad coming up in 2 minutes. So when that ad actually comes up, we're going to go a little break. We're going to try and do this for like streams from now on. Every time an ad comes up, we put the BRB screen up and we go and do whatever we need to do for a couple of minutes. And then we come back and we get back on what we're doing. I just feel like it works out a lot better than me sitting here constantly for 3 hours. I got to stand up. I got to stand up every hour. It's bad for me if I don't. Let's check this out though. We have like a minute and 30. Okay. So we have candles, wall torch, and mushlight. Snowballs, pavilion, parasol. Honey. Thank you so much for the sub to my mum. I'm sure she'll appreciate that. She's still in the stream. You still here? You got the sub? If she's not, I'll tell her after stream if she doesn't notice. But thank you so much. I do appreciate it. I feel like I can hear someone walking around outside my room, but I don't know if it's her or not. But yeah, this is like, this could be bad. This could be fine. This might not be too bad. You're here. Yeah. Yes. Now you don't have to have ads. You're ad free. We have the ad break in 30 seconds. So I'm gonna try this out. I've never done this before. We've never had like breaks in stream. We've just kind of like continued to talk the whole time and carry on playing. So go and get yourself some food, some water, go stretch, do something that's good for you. We'll be back in a few minutes. About 3 minutes. Should be about 3 minutes. It might be less, but we will be back very soon. And I'm waiting for the ads to pop up. Ads will start in 3 minutes, but they're not going to start yet. Crazy business. I'm here. I love how you can just like hear me. You're like, wait, what? What happened? Where are the ads? I can't go anywhere till the ads begin. I don't know how the ads pop up. Ads playing for you guys. Not two of you, but we'll keep looking at this until the ads pop up, and then when the ads pop up, I'll go. I don't know how rare these are to find. This is the one that gives you silk, right? You know what? I actually got some of these the other week and just sold them. And now I feel silly. Now I feel silly. Why did I do that? There they go. Ads have started. If you're here and you can still hear me, please go do something that's not sitting down and watching my stream for just 3 minutes. And we'll be right back. We're back. I actually made it back just in time for the ad break to end. It's actually quite funny. But now my game's broken. How does that happen? I come back and my game's not on the screen anymore. Hello? Why is that not working? What isn't working? Go back. Just thought some shrooms. Okay. Have fun. I should be against that because, you know, mushroom lover and everything, but have fun. I don't know how to, like, get the game back up. Why is it not working? This streaming stuff is really difficult. Why is it not working? Oh my god. I do not understand. It's not working. It's not working. That mushroom is a recipe for a bundle. Oh. I might be okay on that though. I feel like I've got a lot of mushrooms. I did just use a lot of them. So maybe that wasn't a good idea. I'm so sorry, guys. It broke. The stream broke. Not the stream, it's just my thing. Maybe it'll work on here. It works on here. If I go on my YouTube or like opposite camera, it works. If I go in here, it doesn't work. I don't want to stream like this. Oh no. I did say this was supposed to be like a tester stream. We got it back. We got it back. Okay, everything's fine. Elderwood mushlight. You need. Think you need a star version of the mushroom. Oh, okay. I think I might have them. To be honest, I have one. I have one. Yeah, let's start with this. So, what we'll probably do for the rest of the stream, and maybe even the next stream, is try and get the bundles done. I have done them in like one whole day before, so maybe we don't need to worry much about it, but this is what we'll do until we finish it, and then when we finish it, we'll move on to something else. But this gives us something that we can definitely do on stream and not have to think too much about, like, you know, having anything particularly we want to do. So, let's get this done. I will not be doing this off stream. I will leave it for on stream. And I do have quite a few of these already, so we're just gonna go through and add them. I have none of the recipes. And I have... Okay. So this is how much we have right now. We have some of these, half of this, none of these, and one of these. So now we actually need to go through... Let's see, we can see these in... Can we see these somewhere up here, I think? Or can we not? Is this it? Yes. Okay. I only figured this out. I only figured this out after I did the last bundle. That you could see it. So. A little bit silly of me, but like. You know, bound to happen. Let's go see if I can actually make the furniture ones. And then we can go hunt for the more difficult stuff. I have come to actually not hate making food in Palia anymore. I do prefer making food in other games a lot more, I'm not gonna lie. I don't hate it too much. I don't hate it too much. I think I like it more than I actually like it in Dreamlight Valley though. Dreamlight Valley drives me insane with its cooking. If you're on like controller, you can hit like 2 buttons and it puts the food in the pot. But if you're on PC and you're using mouse and keyboard, you have to drag the food into a pot to make the food, and it just kind of bugs me that I can't do it quickly because it takes forever. But that's just me being picky. Okay. What do we need? Oh wait, I can't see how many I've already put in. Oh, that's really annoying. I can't see how many I've already put in. Okay, well we only have one of those. So let's try and make more of these. There we go. I can do this. And then we need log Cabin, small talk. And we have that as well. I have pretty much everything. I've done a lot of resource hunting lately. Oh, wait. We can just, like, try and find them. Like, no. I was gonna say we could just scroll down and try and find them, but that's gonna take forever. Take forever. Wall torch. Is that one on here? This one. Do I have enough for that? I do not. Okay. We can't do that one yet. We have 2 so far that we've done the candles or the homestead one. Candle. These ones. We can make these. I think. Okay. We've pretty much finished that bundle. That's not like a big of a deal. It's. We need to get these, and I think you have to find these through either completing a quest in like town hall and like buying everything that you need to complete the quest, or you can find them in rummage piles and things. I don't know if we can craft them. I don't think we can. Or we can after we've bought them or found one. I don't quite know, but we've done these 2. I'm not gonna do that yet. So we're gonna go hand these in, and then we're gonna go do these. Then we can go find the more complicated things. It's gonna take forever for me to find them, which is fine. Then we can like see what we have left. Pretty much just the bugs and the fish though. I've been a lot of fishing. I don't know if you guys have seen me in game, but I spent like a long time fishing the other day. I was stood trying to get Moors. Moors? I think we said it was Moors last time I asked. The Moors from Elderwood. Such a long time. Doesn't tell you how you can get things in game, which is a little bit weird, to be honest. A little bit annoying. We need 10 paper lantern bugs, 9 starry bitterling fish, and 1 radiant sunfish. I definitely had a radiant sunfish, and now I don't. So we need to find it. So, in fact, let me keep that up. And then I'll look on. And remember to look in, like, speaking to the microphone. That might help. Where do we get these from? Elderwood and Killamar. Okay. We can do Killamar first, maybe? Is this guy, like, really difficult to find because there's only 1? It took me... How long did it take me? I think it took me, like, 3 hours or so to find the unicorn fish last time. Let's hope it doesn't take that long. Let's see where it spawns. We can just not fish in a yap. That's fine. Is it epic? No. Is it legendary? No. Is it rare? Yeah. Turn on. Okay. Can we get these at pretty much anywhere that's not on the edge or like a big pond? Let's. Need like a certain bit. Using worms. Okay, so we need normal worms. Do this. I feel like a nice place to do it, like just in like one place, would be quite nice. Apparently, I can do it here. I don't trust that. I'm gonna go here. Let's go up here. And hopefully we find it. If we find it this stream, that would be pretty cool. When I did all that fishing though, I was trying to get like the called floatfish. The floatfish ones that look like mushrooms. And I got so many plushies, it's insane. I cannot describe to you how many plushies I got. And I got like a bunch of the shark ones too. I don't think I got any other plushies that day, but I got like 10. 10 fish ones. I was like, when does this ever happen? This never happens. But for some reason, the one time I'm not streaming and playing Palia, I actually ended up getting a bunch of plushies. Oh, I was like, this would have been perfect. This would have been perfect. Oh, I've been playing too much Hotopia again. Guys. I actually regret playing it while not streaming. I wish I'd have been streaming when I first started playing it because it would have been so much nicer. But I am thinking of streaming it. Because it looks like such a perfect game to stream. Oh, I'm definitely thinking of streaming it. Oh, no, we need to go and stand somewhere. Nope, not there. How am I gonna get out of this mess? Okay. Maybe here? But yeah, I was thinking that I could stream one stream of Palia and then a stream of Hotopia maybe. Or do 2 streams of Palia and maybe do the potential Sunday stream for Hotopia. This is not the fish, right? Okay, I was gonna say if that was the fish, that would have been crazy. I'm gonna turn this down because it's really loud next to the thing. But yeah, I was like, oh, like what do I do about streaming both games though? Because obviously I've tried to stream Dream at Valley on here once, but it just didn't go how I wanted it to, and it was not really a kind of game that I would really stream. If I'm honest, I feel like it's a lot more of a game where I really just like focus on the game. I don't think I could really talk while playing it because I'm constantly like looking at what everything's saying and yeah. But Hotopia is very similar to the way that Palia flows, so I think it'd be a good stream game. And we also have confirmation that Loftheria is coming out this year, like very soon. I'm just so excited. I don't know if we're doing a closed beta or not. Or an open beta or I don't know. But they did say, like, I think it was last week, that they are doing, the game is coming out in like mid? Is it mid 2026? Either way, the fact that we get to play that game publicly is gonna be so good. I played the alpha like 5 months ago now. It's been such a long time. And I missed the game. I missed the game so badly. And it's such a good game for stream as well. Like, I can't keep recommending it enough. Like, it's the whole thing around it is that it's a community-based game. You can play it solo, but it's very, like, it's a very good game to stream. Because there are, like, things in it. Without me saying too much, I'm going against my NDA. There are things in the game that are very, like, you know, you're going to want people to play with for it. So I feel like we could, as, like, a community, could, like, all play together. I think it'd be super cool. I have seen a lot of people saying in comments, is this game going to be free? And I'm like, no. The game isn't free, but I don't think it'll be too much. I don't think it'll be too much. Obviously, like, I kickstarted the game. Like, I'm one of the backers for it. So I don't know how much the real price is. But I don't think it'll be one of those extortionate prices that games are these days. I've seen some games, and some games are costing an absolute fortune. I get that games do take a lot to make. But oh my god. I'm really glad I don't play games that cost a fortune. And that most of the games I play are actually free. Because I can put my money into the game instead of actually having to buy the game for like £70. £70. Back in my day. No, but like genuinely, like I think it might be around £20. I'm saying it like that because I don't actually know and I don't want to give like false hope to anyone, but it's definitely gonna be worth however much it is. I can promise that. I can't stop thinking about it. Like every day I keep thinking about Loftier and it sounds ridiculous, but genuinely it's such like a cute and fun game while also like making you aware of things. Like obviously the aim of the game is like sustainability and things. But it's so fun too. It's such a fun game. The funniest thing is though, I will say this. When I first tested Palia, the first thing I did in the alpha for Palia is we got it. Okay, well, let's go hand that in. What I did in the alpha for Palia, I literally just fished. I spent so much time fishing, I didn't do anything else, right? The whole time I just spent time fishing. I literally sat. Where is it? Down there. At this pond down here, this is where I spent the entirety of Alpha 1. The entirety of Alpha 1. I literally sat. I think it was this one. It was either this one or the one down there. I just like stood and fished for like probably like collectively maybe 50, 60 hours. Like that sounds ridiculous, but I'm being serious. And then when I played the 2 alphas for Loftia, I literally did the same thing. In the first one, I didn't do it as much because I didn't know I could. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, that was Tony. Oh, that was Tony. It's a different version of him. Yeah, I didn't know I could in the first test, but then the second test, I was like, I'm just gonna spend the whole time fishing. So I definitely think if you haven't got Loftia on your wish list yet, do it. Do it. It will be coming out very soon. And I can tell you right now, you're going to be upset. We already have the hardest thing to find. Now we need these. I think we maybe go and find this. But when does this... Spend like a few minutes trying to... Not me, I'm on my plot at the moment. I see that like red and like silver and black kind of outfit. And I'm like, it's funny. When you guys wear like a skin all of the time, like your outfit's always the same. Like I just sort of like... It's like a muscle memory thing where I'm just like automatically assume it's you. And it never is. It never is. But some people must think I'm so weird when I like run up to them thinking it's you. Uh, Pippa. Pippa. Why did I please? I've not gotten used to... I just got an iPad like literally a week ago and I'm still not used to the keyboard being so big. Lanternburg. Pippa Lanternburg. This comes out between... Oh! 6 p.m. and 3 a.m. You start focus. Yeah, I already have all this. So I don't need any of it. I don't need any of it. All I need is this. I just need like the stone or something, but I'm not doing that now. That's kind of boring. I'm gonna go do the paper lantern bug. I think. It's between 6 p.m. and 3 a.m. I think. So we can't do it just yet. But where do we go for this? Bahari? Okay. We go there very soon though. So maybe we go to... This one's Elderwood. Can I do that one yet? Wait, can I do this one yet either? Because if I can't do this one, then I don't know what we're doing. Sorry. Very bitterly. Okay, this one is all there. Okay, so we can go do that. What do we need? Just normal worms? Okay. We're gonna go do this in Elderwood, and then when we can, we will go to Bahari and go get the book. And I'm gonna assume there's gonna be a bunch of people around doing it anyway, so... Elderwood. I don't actually know how much money I have in the game right now. I don't even think it's I don't think it's much. But it's the one thing I told myself, I just don't care. I don't care like I used to care about it. Because it's like, why am I so worried about having money in the game? This can be a random glitch that happens very soon. That's just going to be like, oh, I've got my money again. It's fine. Where do we find this? Okay, so we need to go. Wait. Nowhere. We can just do this here. You're at 970,930. Oh my god. That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh my god. I'm literally at 166. Yeah. But you know what? I don't mind. I don't mind. I will end up getting bored at some point. And then... Oh, I got humbled real quick there, huh? Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. There we go. When I hit 99999, I'll go buy 40 more lucky coins. You like never run out of money in this game. You just like constantly have money and have like self-control. How do you have both of those? Do you have self-control and money? Could it be me? Could not be me. I do not like this angle for fishing at all. Why is this fish so annoying? That fish? That fish is the worst. I don't want to catch that one again. I'm going over here. I do not like it there at all. I like going fish here instead. That's so much better. No, it isn't. It doesn't let me fish. Oh, man. Oh, that is so annoying. I hate when I have to hold down the rod so that I can fish. I still love fishing. There was a period of time where I hated fishing so badly in this game. And now it has its moments. It has its moments, but you know what? I'll let it off. It is not the worst skill in Palian anymore. It is not. I find it like really odd actually how I managed to love fishing so much, and then when the game actually came out, I didn't fish once. I didn't fish once. I literally left it. I must have left it absolutely forever before I actually fished. 6 months of playing, we barely fished. And then I loved it again, and all I did was fish. I think I just get obsessed with like one thing, and then that's all I do. And then I hate it for like 6 months. Thank you, the Snowy Stuff bundle, and 2 in the Luminous bundle, then I'm done. See, they describe the bundles as being something that you do for a month, and then you're done. Most people get this stuff done in like an hour. Definitely. If you have stuff already in your like storage, you don't have to worry about it. You do not have to worry about it at all. So, we're like halfway through. I probably won't do the full thing today. I think we'll do this fishing, and then we'll do the bug hunting, and then we'll leave it there. But like I said, I'm not too sure if I'll be able to do 3 streams in a week. So there's going to be like 2 streams, Tuesday and Friday, that I'm going to try my absolute hardest to do at like 4 p.m. And Sunday is going to be, once I've done all my Sunday reset, everything's all done. I'll see how I'm feeling, and then we'll stream on a Sunday. And if we stream on a Sunday, maybe it'll be an extra game, or it'll be Palia. I'm not too sure. But I kind of told myself when I came back to streaming that like the one thing I had to do was play what I felt like playing. So like, we have a new update, so I want to play Palia, obviously. But I love this game so much, I don't want to get burnt out on it. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm going to be completely honest. I felt like I was getting burnt out quite a bit with it before. I was playing it so much and never played anything else that I just like didn't want to stream it. And I didn't know what else to stream. So it'll be like, I would say 1 to 2 streams a week of Palia. But I'll see how I feel on Friday as to whether we're playing. If we do, we will complete the rest of the bundle. But I really do want to show you guys my my little character in Heartopia. Oh, okay. If you need to do stuff like that, it's definitely going to take you a little bit longer, but it never takes a month. They literally label it as being something it takes a month. Like, bulletin boards take like a month to complete. Are we talking about Palia or a different game? Because people in Palia hoarder so much that it never takes long to complete anything. But the pavilion and the parasol is something are brand new, so you can find them from the rummage piles or from the points. I don't really know what they are, to be honest. Or you can find them through, I think you can buy them, or you get as a reward for like buying everything in a certain quest line in the town hall. I think that's what it said. Rummage pile, look, I may not be able to complete them all this month. Really? Is it that bad? I think we need to do that this stream then to make sure I actually maybe find them. I don't want to end up missing out on something I'll regret. And then the last day we're like fumbling our way to try and find it. That would not be good. That would be a very long stream though. Can you imagine? That would take a long time. Yeah. I think I'll have to log in and just find the piles every day. Even if I'm not streaming. But that will be the only thing I do. At least while there's a new update out. I like to do like the new update stuff like on stream. And then I can do whatever else like stream. Addresses from... I don't know. I don't really remember what my look is for rummage piles. I feel like I haven't done enough rummage piles. That's my big problem. I don't do them. It's like a daily thing that you should do or whatever. Is it a daily or a weekly thing? I don't even remember. See? This is how bad it is. I don't even remember how often rummage piles respawn. Like, there's these things where people are like, every time you log onto game, make sure you're doing these 5 things. And I'm just like, you're supposed to do that every day? I don't. Probably should. Rummage piles are every IRL day. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what my look is. But I think if you just do them every day, you run out of things. They're not going to give you other recipes. So they're more likely to give you those recipes, but they're also more likely to give you a flower. Or like some random material that you do not need. Rather than the thing you do need, so. But manifest it. You will find them this week, okay? You will find the recipes this week. Just believe it and it'll happen. I didn't even think I was going to find the... What's that fish called? The starry sunfish or something like that? Oh no, this one's starry. It was a sunfish. Which one is it? This one. Oh, I already submitted it. Yeah, I genuinely did not think... Oh, what time is it? We've got a lot of time. I genuinely didn't think I was going to find that fish. It's like, you only need one of them. That usually means that it's a difficult fish to find. I found it in like 6 fish. So. I don't know. It's like IRL? And RNG. RNG. I was trying to think of the name. My RNG in like a lot of games was always terrible. But I just like told myself I'm gonna get something in the game and it will happen. What is it? It's like the sunfish or something. I think it's called something like that. The one that you only need one of them on the bulletin board. If you only need one, it should be difficult. Like, if you need 10 of them, you're expecting it to be somewhat easy to find. But I got it within 6 fishes. So it only took me like a minute or two to get the fish. And I'm finding everything else decently easy, so I'm gonna assume it won't be too difficult. I don't know how many I have right now. Oh, I don't need more. Where do you catch yours? Oh. Where is it? It's like the waterfall at the very top of the map in Killamore. Like, obviously I'm in Elderwood right now, but it would be like here, I think, with like the ruins, but it's not the one on the left. It's the one at the top. Yeah, I found it so quickly. Let me get it up. It's not the big pond with like the ruins in it. It's the one to the right of it. I found it pretty quick. And we found some of these, so we can go back to Kilmer and hunt them in. I don't know how this is happening. I didn't expect to find anything. I think the first bulletin board we did took me weeks to try and do because I had nothing. I had to get all the materials to add in. I had to get so many things and it just like... For the last one I did it like 2 weeks ago and I literally, I swear, it literally took me like a couple hours and I finished it. So, this guy literally found this within like a couple of fish. I don't know how I managed it, but we did it. So, you need to turn your mic up a little bit so you can slightly cut. I can't edit the mic because if I start editing the mic, it's going to sound terrible and it's going to take me a week to fix. It's because I keep moving. That's all it is. Trust me. If I'm like this, can you hear me fine? I need to just stop talking when I turn. And I am not. So I am not changing my mic. It has been this way for like 6 years. If I start messing with the mic now, it's never going to sound right. Trust me. I don't even know what I did to my mic to make it sound the way it does. This mic on its own, awful. If you don't do something with this mic to make it sound good, it will sound terrible. You will hear every breath to a point that I'm sat over there and you can hear me breathe. You'll hear every click of a mouse. You'll hear every like... You'll hear my heart beating. You'll hear everything. It's terrible. So I had to like spend like a whole week like 6 years ago trying to make it sound good. So I can't do anything about it. You need to make something that fits your head so you can move it. I mean, a headset mic would make sense. I could use this, but it won't sound very good. No, all it is a bad habit that I've lost. Because I used to have the good habit of not talking when I moved away. And I forgot the habit. Forgot the habit. I need to relearn it. If I relearn, then we'll be fine. We will be completely fine. Wait, where's the map for this? We find the lantern bug. How did we find this? Why is... Why? I was about to say, like, I don't know where that is in Bahari. My Palia wiki has turned into German. What did I do? I'm like reading this. I have no idea what I'm reading. What did I do? Hello? It's a case of now we hear, now we don't. Yeah, I never used to do that. I got to a point where I didn't do it. And then now I haven't streamed in 6 months. I've completely forgotten how to do things. So I just need to relearn it again. As long as I don't move when I'm talking, you can still hear me. If I do this, you can hear me. I don't know how to turn this back to translate. It's not working. Okay. I don't know what I did. I'm coming off and I'm going back on it. It's back. Back to normal. How did I manage to do that? I literally turned the entirety of the Paleo wiki site into German. I think it was German. It never used to do that. That's because I never used to turn my talking. Like, I have to eat the mic. Like, even when I'm talking like this, you can still hear me. It might cut out a little bit, but you can hear me. But before, I didn't used to turn my head when I talk. You just gotta remember things. It's like riding a bike. I'll be fine in like a couple of streams. Don't worry about it. How do I find this? I need to be in the Bahari Coast or the Bahari Forest. What is that? Not showing it to me. Give me the map. Okay. Says Beachcomber Cove, Lighthouse, Lagoon, or Coral Shores. Where is that? Down here. Down here, here. So this is where we find it. Okay. We'll stop bugging you about it. We'll just stop turning. Give me a couple of streams and I promise I won't. I won't do it anymore. I might occasionally do it, but I'm not doing it on purpose. Do I have enough bug bombs actually? I'm perfectly fine. I have like 20 of them. I have 20 stacks of them. What am I even talking about? Do I have enough? Also, I did a bunch of quests that I hadn't done yet. And now I can send things home. I couldn't do that for 6 months. When I last streamed, I didn't do it. Before I stopped streaming, I didn't finish the quest. I thought that he was a Ferris. I was freaking out. I was like, why is he in the wild? But yeah. The last time I streamed, we didn't complete the courier pet quest. And so I didn't have the full inventory thing that I could send home. I only had half of it. So now I have the full thing. Oh, and we can find the bug now. Okay, we're looking for glowing green bugs. Glowing green bug. You want to bet I'm going to pick all this up though? Old habit. This is such an old habit. I used to sell these for money back before I realized how to really make money in the game. But they used to be worth more, I think. I think they changed it. Is that him that sounds like? I could have sworn that sounds like the bug that I'm trying to find. I probably should be hunting every single bug though, because I think they spawn more bugs the more you catch. Maybe I'm wrong. I also probably could have just done a honey lure. I don't know if I have any, but I probably could have bought some. But I don't need to do that. If I do that too quick, I'll end stream. I don't want to end stream. Not yet. We have like 10-15 minutes of doing this, and then we'll have a break. And see where we're at. See what else we have to do. But right now, we have to find 10 of these, I think. I think we do. Of these, and then we'll leave the bundles for now. A pile. What is that? Oh, it's one of those quest ones. Okay, we don't need that. We don't need that. It's one of those random quest things. I don't understand why they exist. I feel like giving me like one little thing to take back to Zeki every now and again like the worst thing you can get from a bundle. I'd rather have flour. Give me flour instead. I haven't found the book yet, though. It's 6 till 3. And it's around all these areas, so I'm just gonna keep walking back and forth until we find them. Or until we find someone with alert, because, I mean, if they let me join in, they'll join in. But I do not see anything glowing green. Maybe it'll be easier when we go to nighttime. Because glowing green is going to be way easier to see when it's dark. Where do they normally spawn? It just says that they spawn along the coast. I think we should start catching the crabs. They have to get glow bugs? Yeah. I know I could probably use a lure, but I just feel like if I use a lure, then I'm just going to be over and done with it. The stream's going to be finished. Are they really difficult to find? If I don't use a lure, am I going to be doing this for like years? I don't want to be doing that, but... Try around the wooded area? The wooded areas? I thought this is where it spawned. Oh, and the statue garden, the Prownhod Pass, and the Thorny Thicket. They are good. Oh, it's like everywhere. Let me get up on the other map. I don't feel like this is helping me very much. Get up on the so I get up on here. And because you get every single place that it's supposed to spawn. Instead of it just telling me where it is. What kind of thing is it though? Is it like a... Glowbug. Glowbug, where are the glowbugs? Well, that would be easier as you need the starred... Do I need starred ones? I need starred ones? No. Okay, that is mean. Duct tape ahead to the mic. I'm on my... I'm trying to find it on the map. Okay. I will turn back soon. Is it like a difficult one to find, or is it just like... Oh. Oh, they're everywhere. Why is it telling me that they only spawn in certain areas? It was like, oh, it spawns at this area and this area. Just tell me it spawns every... It spawns everywhere. I see one. Oh, they're not even difficult to... Okay, but we need starred ones. Okay, well, we'll see before the ad break if we can find any, and then we'll just, like, maybe do lures after. But for now, we'll just, like, try and find them. Just because I think elongating the stream is better than me just being like, oh, I found them. What do I do now? G6. Wait, Raz is, like, around the corner. I just walked past that. Oh. No. Okay, well, we literally just wander around the whole map and try and find them then. But you're saying the wooded areas. Never mind. Hello? Start. No. And there was one here, but it's, like, disappeared. Okay. There was 2. There was 2 books. Where'd everyone go? Hello? Was I seeing 2, but there was only 1? Yeah, they look like... It looks as though they're absolutely everywhere, not just in those places, it said. Basically named everything. I feel like If a bug is found absolutely everywhere on the map, tell me it can be found anywhere. Why would you name every location on the map if it could just be found everywhere? I know I might get more with the lure, but it's like, oh, I don't know what else to do for the stream. I don't want to like do it and then that'll be it, you know? I don't want to end stream like early or anything. We'll see. We'll see in like 10 minutes. Then we'll just like try and do it. We'll do it. We'll use the laser. We'll do that. See what I can find without. I mean, I got everything else so far, so I don't think I'm going to struggle too much. Plus, also on another stream, we need to look for these bushes because I'm not gonna lie, there's gonna be people doing parties, and I feel like we should join in. And the flower events. Wait, I forgot about the flower events because I wasn't playing when those flower events came out. Like, I wasn't playing at all during that update, and then they came back, and I was like, "What is this? How do I play this?" I still have no idea. Can I find glow bugs with 10 stars? Nightmare? Yeah, but I have all month. I have all month. You know? I have all month, so it's fine. Come back, hello! Thank you for the sub, I appreciate it. Hopefully you're all warm inside now, back at home. Good luck then. I mean, like I said, give me 10 minutes and then we'll see. We'll see. We'll try and we'll do a couple of lures maybe, but I don't want to like use a bunch of lures and just be like, oh, we're done streaming. That's it. Stream ended. I haven't streamed in 6 months, but goodbye. Can you imagine? No. We take things slow around here now, okay? I got my fish finger sandwich and my headed blank. Oh, you know what? That sounds like a vibe, though. I love that. Fish finger sandwich and the blanket, yes. Wait, Tony, you were right about the place. Oh. Oh, you said heated? I actually read it as like headed as in like you've got like head on the blanket, but you know what? Heated blanket, even better. It's a good job I'm actually like really bad at reading. I just like read my own words because it didn't sound like you misspelled anything to me. But that is such a vibe. Fish finger sandwich, I could eat that right now. We went somewhere not long back and they had a fish finger sandwich on the menu and I was like, you know what? I kind of want it. I ordered it and it literally turned out with like the crispiest like fish fingers I've ever had. They were great. I kind of think we need to go back. Eat your shroom. Keep forgetting about the shrooms. So does it work? Did it pop up on stream? Anyone know if it popped up on stream? Did the mushroom pop up on stream? I had a fish finger sandwich. Oh god, you did. I want a fish finger sandwich now. I want a fish finger sandwich, you guys. You weren't checking? Oh god, okay. Actions. Basically, the app that I use for the daily shroom went from being the most bare bones app you could ever use in your entire life. It had practically nothing to it and was so complicated to use because it was such a barefaced interface that like the interface was just like there wasn't much to it. It didn't look like a real app, but it was complicated. Does that make sense? Now it's like a fully fledged thing. It looks completely different. I have no idea how to use this. What? I don't know. No, I don't want to close it. Oh my. Okay. Well, we need to add that to my list of things to do after stream. so that I don't forget. Because I feel like I'm forgetting. Okay, I got it on the list. I got it on the list and I didn't look away while talking. Wait, what's this guy? I feel like I haven't seen that before. Are you making sure that you're keeping it 100 on the land? The sea and the sky? You know. 1000%. I still can't do that dance. I can't do that dance for the life of me. I know like the tiniest bit of it, but it's stuck in my head. I, like walk around saying that all the time. Don't tell me you've been practicing. I don't practice, but I like the song's on. I'm not gonna lie, I'd rather just stand there and just like go. Where did that go? I'd rather just stand there and not like vibe to the music. You know what I mean? I'm gonna drop my mum in it, but we've both tried to do it. We've definitely both tried. It's not difficult to do. It's just like coordination. Not our best. We have an ad break coming up in 3 minutes. And then we will use the lures to make Tony happy. I don't know how many things do I have. 270. We can buy a couple of them, or if anyone wants to come and join me, we can use yours. I haven't played in a long time. I have not played in a long time. I do not have many lures, but we will buy a couple of them. We will use a couple, and if anyone else wants to collectively go and do it too, we can. Missed that. What you dropped me in? The bit of Ophelia dance. We've like both attempted to do it before, but we're not very good at it. I love how you hear me talking about you and you just don't respond instantly, and then you like have a delayed reaction to it. Like, huh? You talking about me? What are you saying? Yeah, we're not very coordinated. Can I make an official announcement? What does that mean? Go ahead, I guess. I don't know what that means. But sure. I think just announcing something's official. We haven't found one yet. We haven't found one. Bought 8 more jellycat Mum, did you see that message? Have you seen that message? Yes. 8? Wait, you've run out of space now then, right? We found one. We found one. We found another one. Take that, Tony. We found 2. It's okay. I cloned them. Juan. It's okay. He cloned them, so it's fine. How much was that? How much was it? No comment. Can I do like above or below? Was it like above 200? I'm gonna guarantee it was 300. Maybe 4. Oh my god, I can't even calculate how much it would be for 8. You need someone to slap your hand to stop you from picking them up. See, that's what I kind of am for you though. Like, I kind of like... Sometimes I'm like, you can't ask me if I like something because I'm gonna have to say yes because I do. But if I know you seriously don't need it, I can deter you from that. Been making enough of statements, it's pointless. I can call my solicitor. Oh my god. It's so bad though. I couldn't tell you like, no, you don't need it. Like, yes, you do. It's a plushie. How can you not? You know? You can't not. It's gonna happen. I can't tell you no. So much for stopping me in that type of shop. I mean, that was a lot anyway. That was a lot on its own. Never mind, like... We're supposed to be taking a break. We'll be taking a break in a second. When the ads come up, I will be going to take a little bit of a break. And you guys should do this. You can only... By 6. Oh, okay. 40? Oh my god. Okay. Ad break is here. I'm going to go on a little break. When we come back, we'll do more of this. We'll go find some more books. And then that'll probably be the end of the stream. But we have another hour, so don't worry. I will be right back in a couple of minutes after that. I'm back. Such a quick break, but it was needed. I need to remember to like drink or like eat something or like move, and I always forget. But I think the ad break is probably the best thing for it. It's only 3 minutes. It's only 3 minutes, and it works out perfect. Tell me why I haven't done it before. Tell me why I haven't done it before. We were bugs. The bugs are literally about to disappear. So we will do this, and then I think we actually need to find something else. My god. They're literally moving towards me. I know you're not a green glowing bug, but I think we might be done. There we go. I'm pretty sure it said that time. 6 p.m. till 3 a.m. we can get the bugs. And they're all gone. Okay, so let's open up these. See what we get. We got a green pearl. A white pearl. Another white pearl. Okay. Well, we got some pearls at least. That's more than what I get in other things. Like, when I'm trying to find, like, the black pearl. Did they change the black pearl? I feel like we had to change the black pearl. When I logged on last month, I was like... What was it this month? I don't remember what it was. When I logged in after not playing for a while, I asked someone for a black pearl. Because it would let me. It wouldn't let me do it before. You guys remember when I was trying to do it? Like, everyone was like, oh, request it. I can give you one. And I was like, I can't. It let me do it. It let me request one. So I requested one. And within seconds, someone gave me one. I requested another one. And within seconds, someone else gave me one. And I was like, hang on a minute. I've completed the quest I needed them for now. Why does everyone have black pills? Now, the question may be an obvious answer. I hadn't played for like 5 months. Maybe everyone just collected them over that time and was just feeling generous. Or they changed the spawn rate while I wasn't playing. You have 7? Well, these people definitely had more than one because they just gave it to me within like seconds of me putting it up. So, I don't know how they had them, but they had them. So. I don't know what we should do now. What should we do now? I'm trying to think. What else did we need to look at? Did the Luna Path, Ranching, the community event. Ooh. That's from the 19th though. That doesn't start till like next week. We have 11 away. Have they changed the spawn rate? Is that what they've done? I feel like that's what they did. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people just got really lucky and were feeling really generous, but I feel like they must have changed the spawn rate. Okay, we can't do the new event yet because it doesn't start until the 19th. We should buy a killer image back. Are you watching my video right now? But no, I've never had an issue getting them. I did. I couldn't find one for months. Jack, I actually don't even know what the rubbish pile is. Bag thing is. I don't even know where you get it from. Where'd you find it from? Oh wait, it's from over here, right? I read patch notes out for a video, but I don't retain the information. Just know that when you're watching the video. I can't do that. I don't have any. New decorating items. Bulletin board. Okay, so we can't do that yet. Have we already we haven't completed any of these, right? No, we haven't actually completed one yet. Storage upgrade. Is there anything else I need to do? I think we just like do... I think we just do stuff where we're just like... If we could do weeklies. We could do weeklies actually. Maybe I'll go do like... weeklies? So that we can go get XP as well. I just walked away from the weeklies and I don't know what the weeklies are. Uncommon cat, uncommon. Go the players. Catch 30 fish. Okay, well we need to do 2. What do we need? Join Hodari star stuff. Are you literally watching the video while watching my stream? That must be the biggest headache ever. Hearing my voice twice? Oh no. Why are you doing that to yourself? I haven't done one of those videos in so long. You know how it's only 5 minutes long? That took me 4 hours to make. Genuinely, it took me 4 hours to edit and make it. I actually had no voice last night after it. Am I not your number one supporter and fan? Well, you've been here the longest. You've put up with me for like... Is it like 5 years? I don't know why you do that. I don't know why anyone would actually do that. You've been through every stage of streaming at this point. You've seen every cringe. Oh, and I just realized you get a badge for sub. Like the what was it called? Founder's badge. You don't get the Founder's badge if you get gifted a sub. No, I think there's 10 people that sub. I think if you get gifted a sub, it doesn't actually count. But if you buy the sub yourself, you get the Founder's badge. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if you actually did that? My signature's terrible anyway. You want my signature regardless. Awful. And I'm an idiot because I was just about to say what it looks like and I just realized that I'm not supposed to do that. There's private information. I just nearly like leaked my own information. This is why I gotta stop myself. You would have run away? I would have like absolutely laughed my head off, to be honest. I might have run away, but you know. We could have laughed and then run away. Which is even worse, honestly. Okay, we only need to do like 2 floor trees. You can run anyway. I can run. Kind of. No, I can't. I don't know why I'm saying I can run. I don't think I remember the last time I actually ran. You're no better than me. In fact, you're probably worse than me. I might get out of breath easier, but... We need 2 floor trees, but I don't want to do that yet. We hunt because I haven't even done these and somehow they're counted yet again. I think someone needs to tell me why these are finished. I have not done 24 creatures. I have not hunted 24 creatures. I have not hunted 5 or 3 magical creatures either. And I've not hunted 9 out of 10 creatures with other players. I also haven't harvested 30 crops. The game is literally completing things for me and I don't know why. So, someone would care to explain that. Still don't understand it and I feel like... Like, do I message Palia and be like, help, the game is completing things for me. It's such a problem. I don't think it's a problem, honestly. I feel like the game completing for me is like not a problem. If I complain about that, that's just weird. Thank you, friend. Thank you. Yeah, I don't feel like it's a proper problem for me to be like, help, the game's doing things that help me. I feel like that doesn't make any sense, but like, I don't know if it's like something I should actually message them about and be like, the game is broken. Because all I've had to do was like hunt 4 creatures and it's completed it, but it's supposed to be like 20 or something like that. And I haven't played all week. I've been busy in my other game. Like really busy. I've been making so much money in Heartopia. It's kind of mad. I should probably make like a TikTok about that. I feel like it's a bunch of people when you start a new game that have like no idea how to do something, and if you figure it out, share it. Don't keep it all for yourself. Trying to for a little soon, just wait for my sister and my dad back for coffee. Okay, don't worry about it. Thank you for stopping by. And for the subs, I appreciate everything. I appreciate anyone for coming by, honestly. I haven't streamed in 6 months and you guys still showed up. Obviously, I appreciate that. I have no expectations for today at all. Kept thinking, look, it's fine. However it goes, it goes. No, you guys are amazing. Daily shrooms. If anyone hasn't already done the daily shrooms. Apparently, doing channel point redemption stuff actually helps the streamer. I don't know if that's true. Don't take my word for it, but I kind of heard someone... Oh, I'm so sorry. That's yours. I don't know if it's completely true, but I saw someone that was doing push for partner, and they were like telling people that it helped. I don't know if it... I don't know if it actually helps. But hey, Jack's gonna do it anyway. And to be fair, I haven't drank much water today. Like, this is like... I've had one of these before. Don't worry about it. He always tell me drinks, I'll return